Hey world, hope you're doing all right. So for this week, I am going to draft this pattern here. It calls it a bathing suit, but I think this would make a really cute, like, summery dress thing. Um, yeah, so here we go. I've got our contour blocks here that I'm going to work with. I've used these in previous videos to do other strapless things. I have not yet drafted this split cup pattern, um, but I think with what I've got drawn here, it should be pretty easy. I've already got my guidelines drawn out, so let's just get the easy stuff out of the way. I am going to do the back pattern first, which is just plain. You can sort of see here that there's nothing above the where the bust attaches there. So like the back part is just a plain princess seam. So let's see. Let's get rid of all of that. Ooh, except for I want to keep that pink dart there because this is a strapless garment, it needs more contour shaping. So let's see, getting rid of. Is that going to let me do it? Let's see. Ah, yeah, that'll work. Okay, I can get rid of that line, and ooh, not that line. I want to add an anchor point along my pink line here, and pink line is the contour shaping line. Use this to reshape this here, reshape the waist there, and now I can get rid of this pink line because I used that as my guideline. Bye-bye. Okay. Let's see. We're going to add an anchor point there, and then subtract that one. That's a handle. Okay, good. And then the top portion of this dart can go away, so I'm going to snip it because we're using the pink lines as our guideline. On this line here, I'm going to add an anchor point there, and then with my A tool, direct select, I can just get rid of it. And then I don't really need to do this, but you know, actually I really don't need to do that at all. So we're going to grab this, get rid of that, and now we're going to close off our pattern pieces with the pen tool, hovering until you see the minus, and then hovering until you see the square, or sometimes it's a circle. I don't know why it changes, but there we go. And then click drag and join, since that one got snipped. And now we have to, I made this really short skirt, so it's about 17 inches from the waistline down. It's going to be a mini, which is fine. Could always make it longer, but I thought for this would be super cute. So I'm adding an anchor point here in line with where the dart was, getting rid of that guideline, and I'm going to snip there and there. And so now we've got a center back and a side back. Okay, so later I will add the flare. This skirt is pretty super flared, so I will add that here in a minute, but for now, there's our back. Let's move on to our front. The cup is made in two pieces, a split about down the middle. This top guideline here, I added extra to go straight across the bust because it looks like it's gathered in the center. So for this, you would just gather it down to make it fit, make it look pleasing. Probably do the same amount. So this here is 2 inches, so I can probably make it so that this would gather down to 2 inches. Let's see. Let's do a 2 by 2 inch box. Put that here just to see what that would look like. It's a little bit below, so maybe 3 inches would be better. I mean, it really just depends on how comfortable you are. That looks better because this pink line is, it delineates your bust apex, so that would be right on the nipple. So if it's too low, I think it'll curve in too much and it might be a little too exposing. Like I said, up to you. I don't really care, but I think 3 inches from this point up makes a lot more sense. So that will be something that you just add to the pattern later. Just say gather to 3 inches. Okay, so I drew this sort of, it's shaped similarly to, wow, words are hard today, like an underbust corset. It's got a point, and then it goes across, and then smooths out. So that should be fairly easy to draft. And actually, it might be easier to cut that part away before I get too far into this. So let's cut through. Wait a minute. Let me think about that for a second. I don't think I need these guidelines, because I do need the rest of them up here. Okay, but I can cut these along my guideline. So I just need to add some anchor points. And I do that with my plus key. And I need one here as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is cut the... Did that add it to the wrong line? I think it did. God, that's frustrating. I think if you put this all the way in the back, you do the send to back command, then it's easier to put your guidelines or your anchor points on the pink lines. Let's see, we'll snip that there. I want to snip this guy here and there. And grab this one and snip this here and there. And now in theory, if I click and drag and grab all of these things, oh, I forgot to cut my side seam. That's okay. I will add an anchor there, cut it there, and now we'll try this again. See, I don't want all that stuff though, so let's do that. Is that gonna work? Did I cut it? Oh, it's because I'm grabbing the outline. Doy. Because it's all connected still, the whole thing, what I need to do is add an anchor point there, and then cut that away. And now, yes, that makes me feel better. Okay, we're going to click and drag and grab across all of those pieces and my guideline and the bottom of my dart, because I'll need that later. And that looks right. Yes, okay, so shift, nudge this, ooh, not up, down and out of the way. And then I think I'm going to need that again. So I'm going to shift alt to copy and then nudge. And now I've got my guideline up here and down here to see where I'm going with both of these. So to continue shaping the front pattern pieces that are going to be easy, we're just going to subtract that. I think I'm going to subtract that. I like that. Other favorite thing, click, drag, and join. Although, let's zoom way in. Yeah, they're on top of each other. Okay. And then, so this poses an interesting issue. I'm going to have to fix this curve. I think I'll just walk it. It's not a big deal. So, because of the shaping that happens there, I'm going to get rid of those. And then along our guideline here. I'm going to get rid of the center of this. We need to add an anchor there and an anchor there. If it will do it, give me an anchor. Nope. Give me an anchor on this line. Oh, I have to zoom way in so it doesn't know. There it goes. Okay. So if I use my direct tool, click and drag, I can get rid of that. I want these to be right on top of each other. Just makes it easier when they join. Same thing here. Let's move the pink one to the black one and join. Okay. We'll join, let's cut this first. Okay. Nope, need the A. Click, drag, and join. Oh. Is it because they're part of different things, or is there an extra point there? There's probably an anchor point floating in space here somewhere. We'll figure that out later. Let's see if it'll do it on this one. Okay, so there must be an anchor point in here somewhere I can't see, which is fine. Excuse me. Adding another guideline just to get the part where I cut my skirt. Adding an anchor, cutting it away, getting rid of my guideline because it's in the way. And I'm going to, I guess I didn't join that corner. And that way when I click on this line, the whole thing will shift nudge. And then I can close this shape. Same thing here. I close this shape. Although I'm still not sure why I can't connect it. Whoop, I don't need that. Undo. Need the A. That I can join, but I can't join the two anchors that are here. Huh. I wonder if it'll let me close it this way. Oh, well, that's weird. We'll just get rid of that anchor. All right. So now we've got those slices, which will be flared. I'll walk them to make sure that they match and all that fun stuff. Here's my flare circle that I always draw once or twice in each video because I screw it up. So I drew it beforehand, and so I'll work on that later. All right, back to our cup shapes. So I think the plan here is to split the difference between the two of these. Although, actually, let's see, what is the length of using the measure tool, which is under the eyedropper, which you can't see for some reason. What is that length? That length is 1.5 inches. That's perfect. Because this is 2 inches, I think. And we'll just split it. Well, I don't know. I want that to be bigger. Huh. We'll come back to that. I might just split it in two and see what happens. I want a guideline just to show you what I'm doing. It's going to go through the bust point and then down over here. So we'll just put that in the middle. And what I want to do, this bottom half is going to be really small. I wonder if I should, there we go. That's kind of a fun line there. Although it doesn't even matter because when I cut away all these pieces, you're not even going to know that this bow is here. It's fine. All right, so now I'm going to momentarily lock this layer and add a new layer so I can trace over what I've got here because, let's see, I need a different color so you can see what I'm doing. Let's do green. Okay, so I want to trace over what's here. Of course, even though I told it to on this intersect, sometimes it'll just jump off to the side. And I'm like, I did not put you there. Let's see. So that has to go here. And so I'm drafting these shapes based on the contour lines that I drew already. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to glue them together in a way once I finish this. But for now, I want to show you all the separate slices I have to make sure that this actually fits. I just realized also that this has to go here. And then like this, which I'll probably end up just making that a smooth curve when all this is done. So there's that. And then let's work on the top portion. Yeah, this is the really annoying part, is because I want all of these separate slices. Probably should have done this before, but whatever. Let's see. And so now I want this one. Do I want that one to go to there? No, I want this to go here. All of these little skinny slices that'll end up being glued together. And the end of this, stop jumping off to the side. I want on the intersect line. And then all drafted back to the bust point. And let's see, let's grab this one. We're going to put this over here because that is my contour guideline. And then I need to move that handle down. What did I want to do there? Oh, I want this to go along that line, don't I? Huh, I didn't really think about that. But, wait a minute, why did you put that there? Okay. This is a little bit of a messier video than normal, but I've never done this before, so so bear with me. I think that will work. However, I am concerned about all of this dart excess. It needs to go somewhere. Let's measure just to see from here down. That width is, or that height, whatever, is an inch. And this is, well, let's do this here. This is a little less than an inch. I could bounce that up a little bit, and then that should be close. I just want to make sure I can get all of that dart excess out. Oh, that's a little too much. Let's do that again. And just go down. Do-do-do. Yeah, close enough. Okay. So now I've got all of my funky slices. I'm going to grab all of them and scoot them off to the side. That's crazy. I love it. It's crazy. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I want to throw a guideline there just so I can see where I'm going. I'm going to rotate all of my pieces. The bottom two pieces are going to be connected, and then the top, what is that, 5 pieces are going to be connected to create this funky curve thing. And then I will smooth it out because sewing this will be a pain. Interesting that there's an issue there, but we'll figure it out. Let's move all of these to match this guy here. I'm sure there is a faster way to do this, but this seemed like a fairly accurate way to do it. I don't actually know. Okay, so there's some funkiness going on both of these patterns, but that's okay. I will smooth all of this out. Let's get rid of our guideline, and also these two center lines here, because I don't need those. Magic. I'm going to lower this one to match that. It's a pretty nice line there. This is super pointy, so I think I'm just going to make it smoother. Not like that. What did I do wrong there? Oh, I didn't join those. That's better. It's a little too curved, but that's okay. I like that one a little more. This seems to be the only one that's that far off. We're just going to put that there. That's a real funky shape, but I think once it's stitched and this is gathered, it's going to do that nice curve. I'm going to get rid of all of those and the little nubbin from the other pattern. Here we go. And let's zoom in to make sure that these are overlapped pretty exactly. Of course, it's probably not going to let me do that. Oh, there's a bunch of anchor points there because of all of those. Okay, let's grab all of these pieces and I'm going to scoot them up out of the way because I betcha, yep, haha, there were anchor points, and that's why it would not let me join those. Now I can join them. Beautiful. And I should be able to make a curve. Hey, that's nice. Let's see. I don't like how there's like 6 pieces there that I have to like glue together. So I'm gonna just draw. This is just like guideline for me to see what I'm doing. I don't want it to be green or else I'll lose it. Make it pink. Make it pink. Make it blue. Put that there. I want this to be the top of this curve. Let's, oops, actually, remove that anchor or that handle. And then this will come back and then down to there. Okay, let's move some stuff around. This needs to be way curved. Nice. I like that. I want this to come way out over here. And I want this to change its angle a bit. And about there. And then this one, let's match that up to the side seam there. And then change its shape with the handles. I think I like that. So I am going to cut apart, I'm going to cut away the whole top portion of the green pattern. So now I just have the bottom. Nope. Snip. That one. Okay. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab the pink line, and then move those back down. So it's like it's an approximation of the lines that were there. It's not going to be perfect, but I think the shape is a lot nicer to work with. So I'm going to get rid of all of this, and then my favorite thing again, click, drag, and join, which turns the whole thing pink. And then the same thing over here, click, drag, and join. So in theory, our two pieces will look something like that. I don't really like the shape that the top or the bottom one is, but I think it will probably still work. I would definitely have to test this pattern. I've never made cups like this before. So it'll be very interesting. And I also just realized something kind of annoying that I'm gonna have to fix. I drew this to here. In the picture, there shows it's probably about 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches, but when I drew that on here before, it looked really low. I think I'm gonna leave it. I think the space between here and here is just gonna end up being a dart. There's a different way to do this for sure, but for today, this is the basic idea of how you would get a split cup like this from your contour pattern. So, all right, it's close enough. So I think that's pretty much all I need. I'm going to put these back on the layer I was using before. I just got an error. There we go. And I'm going to make them black. I think they will work. It is tough. I've never quite figured out how to get those to look nice. But I think once it's sewn, once this line is sewn to here, I think all these shapes will work out. But again, I'd have to try it, and I don't have a printer right now, so I won't be able to do that for a while. But let's do the skirt the way that I like to do it. So I'm going to line up my front pattern piece to there. Let's see. Let's rotate, match up my waistline notches. I think I'm going to do this part first, and then I'll go back and walk all of my pieces to make sure that they match. Just because I really want to get the flare of this skirt done first. And this is really flared, so hopefully I can get the whole half circle into this shape. We'll find out. Keep doing that. Where is that? There we go. Keep rotating those pieces until they match the inner waistline circle. And I'm trying to think now, do we want to do a slightly high-low to account for your butt? I feel like I do. Maybe a little bit less than a full circle, but that's okay. So I think one of the easiest things I've done in the past to make a high-low is to change the shape of the outer circle. Let's grab a box and let's add 2 inches. So we'll make it a 19 inch long square that I'm going to set here. And I'm just going to take this outer circle and stretch it just a little bit. Yeah, I like that. That'll be good enough. That's an easy way to get the curve correct for when you're doing a high-low. You can always just move your center circle to like way over here if you want a super short, but that works well for me in this case. So let's do a guideline here and there to get those guys. I am going to, I need the waistline notch. I don't need the ends of the dart legs because the whole skirt panel becomes those dart legs in a way. Same with the hip lines. I don't need any of the hip markings. No, I'm not adding a point. Okay. Scoot all these over. Get rid of, like I said, I don't need the hip curve anymore. I want all of these to just be very full. Subtract that. Bye-bye. Get this over here. I don't need this. If I was doing something that was very fitted around the hip and then very flared, like a fishtail skirt or something, I would leave my hip lines in and stuff like that, but I don't need them for this shape. This one needs to be bigger. I mean, if I wanted to, I can make each one of these like super huge. How do I want to do that? If I rotate this back to flat, basically. But see, that's going to screw up my curve. Never mind. So it's not going to be the fullest skirt, but that's okay. And then I use my Shift-C and click and drag, and that's how I shape the hems of all of these. I don't super love that the side front panel is that much bigger than the side back panel. So I'm probably just going to scooch it until it does work. And what I meant is that this width is a lot bigger than that width. But if I get rid of my guide, and then I don't really need my circle anymore. However, I'm just going to grab it and scoot it a little bit just so I can see these two anchor points, because I'm going to click and drag those, and I'm just going to scooch them. Let's scooch them straight down. That's better. At least they're a little more even that way. I don't know if it matters, I just, for my brain. And then let's move this back to where it was. So I did kind of need it just to make sure that my curves were closer on there, but otherwise it wasn't too bad. All right, I like that. So now let's bring all of our patterns back to the main area. How do I do that usually? Oh, well, that one, I'll just do this for the front, because usually I throw a waistline, and that's how I match up all my pieces. All right, getting all this back in here. I've tried to do this by hand before to make a nice sweeping smooth curve between my panels, and it seriously just does not cooperate. So I'm really glad that I figured out the circle thing, which I suppose I could do by hand, but that would be a lot. Imagine taking like the entire width of 60-inch wide pattern paper and trying to get a nice, gigantic smooth circle. That would be really tough. The big circle that I drew, this guy, was 41.95 inches across both directions. So that's a pretty big circle to deal with. And that's based off of twice the skirt length I wanted, because I need it for front and back, plus the diameter of the waistline circle. Okay, so now that these are all here, I am going to do some pattern walking. I'm not super concerned about the bottom portions fitting all that well. I mean, they probably will. In general, I'm concerned about patterns fitting well, but not enough to walk the whole bottom, especially because of what I just did with the circles. So for that, I'm going to drop down the front pattern because I want that to be a dramatic, I want this to be a dramatic point. So that's pretty good. I like that enough. And then these I'm pretty sure are going to fit without any issue. Or maybe not. I did draw this upper guideline on a curve. Yeah, that's what's going on. I want this to be shorter. Actually, I want both of them to be shorter because that's kind of ugly. So, give me a pen. Oh, is my center back not straight? It's not. Well, that would help. Let's do that and then grab both of those. We're going to rotate both pieces so that they finally match along this straight line here. And then I'm going to go back up here and decide I still don't like it. If I just do a straight line here that goes kind of up like that, and then I'm going to drop all of this down because see there's this little point. I want to get rid of the point. So the guideline that I drew, let's turn it a color so you can see it, so you don't know what I'm talking about. This is just to figure out what's the best way to smooth out these pieces so that you don't end up with a weird point between your pattern pieces, because that would look strange. So actually, because I like that curve so much, this is probably going to be much more work than I need to do, but is that what I wanted? Certainly not. Okay. Snipping tool. Cut there. Grab this guy. Cut there. I use the A. I can get rid of those pieces. I'm going to snip the pink guideline in half. There and there. Did it work? Nope. Cut it. Okay. And then if I grab with the regular selection tool, the pink and the black from that side, why did it cut apart the whole thing? I don't understand. Okay. There we go. But so now that curve is a lot nicer, and it was probably like 1/8 of an inch that I had to cut away from where the center back dart used to be. I guess it's not a center back, is it? Side back dart? Whatever. The dart on the back. Just to smooth out that point. So now, those are good. Let's rejoin all of our pattern pieces. Sometimes I think my mouse just jumps around and decides to click on things it doesn't need to. And so I don't know why this part was snipped, but I wonder sometimes if it just jumped over here, snipped it, and then came back. Not sure why it does that. It's really annoying. But those are now locked. Oh, and see, that's a nice curve too. All right, so that'll look real good once it's sewn all together. Let's grab these, which obviously don't fit. They're not supposed to. Not yet. Because the cup. So as long as the cup pieces can fit in, then we should be okay. Although, I think I'm already seeing how much of an issue we're going to have here because the top cup only goes to there. Well, what are we going to do about that then? So, you know what I want to do? Yep. All right. Why did I do that? I wanted Control Z. I am going to move it. So this isn't going to be as much of a curve anymore. How do I want to do this? Just trying to figure out what the best way to get this lined up correctly. I think the best way to do this is to line up the front cup, top cup, with this center front line to get the right angle, and then move this to here. And then I'm going to add an anchor point, I think. I don't want this curve to change, so actually I'm just going to snip it. Snip this and scoop this up. Not the bottom portion. I want the top portion. Ugh, again, not the bottom portion. And where did the bottom portion go? Okay, so that's just going to go back to there. So now that'll fit better. What does this look like? Oh, you know, not terrible. All right, so now we've got extra space to fill in from there to there. which makes me happier because the original pattern does have a seam line with extra space above and below. Okay, I feel a lot better about that. Actually, all of that can go away. In theory, we're just going to keep this as a strapless. We're not going to worry about measuring over the shoulder. Plus also, if you did it like an adjustable bra strap, then you're not going to have to worry about the exact measurement of how long that should be. I'm going to scoot this over, rotate the whole thing again. I'm going to deselect you and you. And scoot this. All right. There we go. So our basic pattern pieces, we've got the top cup with excess here for gathering, the bottom cup with a whole lot of shaping. Not sure how I feel about that, but I would have to sew it and see. Got your center front panel, side front panel, side back panel, and center back panel. And they're all very curved, and you can see just from how they're sitting here that there is a smooth progression, a little bit shorter to a little bit longer. That way it'll cover your butt. And I did that with my skirt circle, which is my favorite thing to do. And I'm going to get rid of our guidelines. I think all that's left, click and drag, object path, offset path, 1/2 inch because I like 1/2 inch seam allowances. Preview it. Looks like one pattern piece was screwed up, but otherwise it was pretty good. So let's group these, Control G, that way they don't get lost. Control G, okay. Let's grab this, we're gonna move this over here. Not really sure why it got so weird. Oh, it's probably that, okay. Let's grab that corner, that's all it was. So now we can do the same thing, object path, offset path, 1/2 inch, boom, I win. All right. So that took a little longer than I expected, sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, help a friend out, you know, I think I only have 2 subscribers, so it'd be great if someone else could subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for next week's video, drop me a line, drop me a photo, give me something, and I hope you enjoyed your weekend.